Rembrandt had a huge impact on 20th century and contemporary art, but it's not that obvious. I think his interest in the aging process, decay, mortality, morality come through in 20th century art in a strong way, but perhaps you wouldn't identify any Rembrandt technique or approach directly in many of the artists who were working in the 20th century in Britain. After the Second World War, there's a big resurgence in interest in Rembrandt's work. Think of Leon Kossoff, Lucien Freud, Frank Auerbach, all artists who'd lost family members, lost friends in Germany, and they looked to Rembrandt really as the master of the art of self-examination. Rembrandt had an important influence on, not just on painters and etchers, but on sculptors. And there's one sculptor in particular, Jacob Epstein, who was born in the 1880s, who lived in Britain. And there's a work which is in our collection, which is of the physicist Einstein, which came out looking like a Rembrandt even. It's done in that sort of fingered way, the way that Rembrandt would scoot the paint around with his brush, sort of mix it up, and then you can see the brushwork. It's very visible. That's a sort of trademark of Rembrandt's work.
His impact now has sort of grown and grown, especially during the 20th century when art, and painting specifically, has become far more interested in the brushstroke and the idea of the artist being an expressive individual that wasn't just telling a story, but was telling a story in the way they handled the paint. My particular style of drawing is very different to Rembrandt. I would call myself a Baroque painter and drawer in that I like curves and I like sense of movement and I like the light and dark. But Rembrandt's marks tend to be very jerky and not very fluid. And so when I use Rembrandt as a model, I'm always sort of adding a great deal more curvature and a great deal more movement, almost animating Rembrandt's animation even more to sort of highlight that sense of fluidity in the mark making. I think more what I do with Rembrandt is sample him. It's almost like a mix or mash-up. I take different paintings by Rembrandt and join them together. The idea was to do 6 quite straightforward portraits. But in the process of doing the etchings, we sort of accidentally discovered that actually if you printed one etching over the top of the other, that it made it more interesting. It made them completely abstract in some cases, but you still had a sense in which they were a portrait.